Oh. Good evening, everyone. This meeting is called to order at 5:35. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Sliker, Councillor Mondor, seconder. Councillor Fiedelkorn, can you do the acknowledgement, please?
Sir, I'd like to acknowledge that the rural municipality of St. Andrews is located on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We respect the spirit and intent of treaties and treaty making, and remain committed to working in partnership with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration.
Thank you. The adoption of the agenda. Be resolved that council adopt the agenda as amended with the addition of the following items. In-camera item 13.4, St. Andrews Airport Baseball Diamond Project. Is there any other additions or deletions that want to be done here? Anyone? No? Can we, one second, oh, sorry. Can we move the item 12.3, which is the St. Andrews Airport Board Indigenous Representation to in-camera, to number 13.5. Everyone okay with that? Yeah, all in favor? Great. You can get a seconder. Seconder, sorry. Seconder, Councilor Mondor, all in favor? Okay. Councilor Sliker.
Just before we start, Deputy Mayor, I just wanted to let everybody know that hats off to the City of Selkirk. They put on a wonderful Remembrance Day service on Saturday. So with the City of Selkirk, the Legion, the Army and Navy, pretty well attended, great service. Councillor Deputy Mayor Dornbos went to the Legion after and gave a nice speech on behalf of all the residents of the RM, so we thank you for that. And the other thing I wanted to say is to them all about community sports or community minded. I had the privilege Friday night to go to the Petersfield Hotel Meat Draw, where the Petersfield Community Club is raising funds to enhance their park. And it was a really well attended night. It was fun and wonderful to see the community step up and try to raise money on their own to do things for their own area. So hats off to the community club. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4, planning related delegations. Open the planning hearing process here. Welcome everyone to the planning portion of our meeting. First off, Mayor Soul will not be participating due to her leave of absence. The hearing will proceed as follows. RRPD staff will present the application. The applicant will make a presentation on the application. Those registered in support will make a presentation. Those registered as opposed will make a presentation. The applicant will then have the opportunity to respond to comments or concerns raised by council or presenters. At the end of each presentation, council may ask for clarification but will not enter into debate. Please note all persons speaking must address the chair. At the end of the presentations, council will close the public hearing. Once the public hearing is closed, there'll be no more presentations accepted on the matter. Council will then consider each matter separately and provide a decision. We will proceed. Open the public hearing. Be resolved that council hereby open the public hearings for the following planning applications scheduled for November 14th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. 5:39. Conditional use number 32-2023. Conditional use number 34-2023. Variation order number 99-2023. Variation order 111-2023. Variation order 117-2023. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Sliker, seconder. Councillor Fiedelkorn, all in favor? Great. Thank
you, sir. Good evening, Council. If you would just allow me to share my screen, I can start the presentation.
Is it not allowing you to share? Can you try, like you tried recently?
Yeah.
Try now. Sure why that wouldn't work. If you'd like to go the route of Windows K, you can stream directly.
No displays.
Ken, is there a reasoning why he can't share his screen? I'm logged in through Tim's. Want to try leaving the call and rejoining? And then whenever you're ready, try again. This should work. Perfect. Thank you for bearing with me.
This is conditional use application CU 32/2023. The subject property is located at 35 Stevens Avenue. The applicant wishes to allow for a multi-housing dwelling on a subject property in the suburban residential zone. This is the conditional use request table. As I said before, the applicant wishes to establish a multi-family development on the subject property. This is the location map. As you can see, the property gains access from Stevens Avenue, and there are two-family dwellings existing on the property. This is the site plan provided by the applicant. As you can see, there's 2 units. Each unit has 2 dwellings, and they're about 1344 square foot each. For council's consideration, this use is a result of a bylaw infraction, as the construction started without obtaining the required approvals and permits. Red River Planning notes that a 2-family dwelling is a permitted use in this zone, but a multi-family requires a conditional approval from the council. Therefore, the owner can have 1 2-family dwelling, but the second building started the conditional use process. Red River Planning also notes that the second building is already existing prior to this conditional approval. Both the Red River Planning and RM of St. Andrews Enforcement has concerns with the unsightly appearance of the property and the work done without approvals. The RM administration has requested a development agreement as a condition of approval, ensuring that the development is compatible with the surrounding area. These are some pictures by the bylaw enforcement for council's consideration. On the left is the first building. This is the second building. This is another picture showing both the buildings and the area in between. If the council wishes to approve this application, Red River Planning recommends 8 conditions. Number 1, this use is limited to what is proposed, 2 duplex buildings and 4 dwelling units in this application, and any intensification of use or any new additions will require new approval. The applicant owner obtains all the required permits from Red River Planning and the RM of St. Andrews. The property shall be maintained in a manner as not to become unsightly. The shipping containers to be removed from the property. No exterior storage of materials or equipment shall be permitted. Vehicle parking must remain on the subject property. No parking on Stevens Avenue or the Highway 238. The applicant owner to enter into a development agreement with the RM of St. Andrews to address items such as comprehensive site and landscaping plans, sewer connections to the proposed dwellings, and any other item deemed necessary by the RM. Last, the applicant owner obtains the lot rate permit for the proposed dwelling. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Sid? No. The applicant, Mr. Pertot, want to speak about your application?
These for everybody here to view, or the renderings of the 2 buildings, what they're going to look like. They're There's one for each. Before this whole process started, I did research on the property. Understand that it's been vacant since 1964. I just think it's a good idea for that community. There is a shortage of rental units in the St. Andrews area. I did call the RM here before everything started here, and I got the impression that it's welcome for like rental in this area in the RM of St. Andrews. The two buildings, they were existing buildings that I moved onto the property. Just basically doing a complete renovation on the interior, just taking it had old paneling on the walls, remove that, and new finishes on the inside, new drywall, new flooring, finishing millwork, cabinetry. That's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Prickle. We have registered for opposition. Yep.
Sorry, Lord. Any questions of-
Oh, sorry, yes, is that one of the questions? Mr. Hunt? The pictures, here are they the current pictures?
Correct.
Okay.
Of one, yeah, the first building.
Grass and the driveways and the parking is not complete, right?
No, that's my kind of landscaping plan.
So you started the work without permits?
We applied for permits and it was a long process. We had the mover, there's only a select few movers in Manitoba that can actually move this type of building. And it was restricted with highway restrictions and stuff like that. And he needed his equipment. The first one, it landed on site. I was unaware of it. He called me and said the building's on property. It was still on the beams and the wheels, and it sat like that for as long as he could until I was already in the process of applications and waiting on permits and stuff like that. And we had to take it off the beams. I thought it was unsafe to be standing on the beams, especially close to the highway, whatever it is, or 288, I think it is, or then the road, not Stevens, but the other one. So I thought it was a danger to have it there. So then he landed the first one on.
You didn't really answer my question though. You started the work and you brought these buildings in without permits, right?
No. The first one, the applications were long in already.
But were they approved?
No.
Okay, so saying that, who's doing the work inside the buildings? Is it a licensed contractor? Is all the work approved with building codes and whatnot?
Correct. I'm doing the work.
You're a contractor?
I'm doing it. Yes, I'm a contractor.
You're a licensed contractor?
Registered contractor.
I think you have to be licensed, do you not, to perform work on a residential building?
Licensed in which way?
Councilor Munder, this is not part of the application process. This, we're going through the conditional use process here. This would be permitting for planning.
Okay. I had one other question. When did you purchase the property?
I believe Lisa could help me out on that.
It's 2000.
2020.
2020.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Pickle. We have some registered in opposition here. We can start with Diane Durkach.
Good evening. I have a petition here. We have 80% opposed in signatures. The residents of Stevens Avenue East undersigned are in opposition of any intent by the owner 71-84-337 Manitoba Limited. Or any other individuals who may be applying for rezoning, conditional use, or variation permits for the above noted property number 35 Stevens Avenue East from the current residential use single-family dwelling. Residents were taken aback when a large bunk-style building was moved onto the property at 35 Stevens Avenue East on September of 2021, well before any notice of intent to develop was given. No permit was posted within the 100-meter area of nearby residents, adding to the surprise. In February of 23, a second large building was delivered to the same location without any posted permits, further adding to the confusion and concern of the residents. We, the undersigned, disagree with the owner's conditional use application as follows. Applicant shows a pattern of not following the rules evidenced by the following bylaw infractions as per page 2 of the Red River Planning package, and that was for council's consideration. They note the following: proper permits and application processes were not followed for the building 1 placed on this September 2021. Proper permits and application processes were not followed for building 2 placed on site in February of 2023. Ignoring stop work notices. First notice issued October of 2021. Second notice is currently in effect per Red River Planning. An incomplete application pending payment for conditional use proposing multifamily housing as submitted to the planning in February of 2023. In the letter of intent for conditional use application, applicant states their opinion that this multiple housing dwelling project will be a positive addition to the area, and new construction will increase overall property value and potentially more development and investment in the area. We, the residents of Stevens Avenue East, disagree. Multi-rental is not going to improve the aesthetics of Stevens Avenue East. In some cases, such housing negatively impacts sales in the areas that they are placed in and deter buyers. As residents of Stevens Avenue East, we fail to see any positive benefits of having more than one building on the site. The proposal does not align with the single-family dwellings on Stevens Avenue East. The buildings moved onto the property lacked permits and are old structures that underwent renovations, not new construction. The project location is not supported by the Lockport Settlement Center secondary plan bylaw number 4197 for area enhancement and preservation. Lockport Settlement Center secondary plan bylaw 4197 is an authoritative document that is legally binding. It was created with the valuable input of the community. We have a map attached to this petition, and it clearly indicates that the future land use for plots 5734 and 5730 off Highway 9 have been designated for multifamily residential development, while no land on Stevens Avenue East has been marked for multifamily residential use. As this plan was approved through a democratic process and represents the will of the community, it should be respected and followed. The applicant is claiming that they've conducted a research on the area. However, we feel that if this statement is true, they should have been aware of the previous unsuccessful attempts to apply for similar multi-housing dwellings on Stevens Avenue East, which were met with opposition from the residents and ultimately denied. It is evident that this project has not adhered to the bylaws set out by the RM and should not have reached this stage. Approval of this application will set a precedent on Stevens Avenue East and St. Andrews Municipality, where developers will or may attempt to change the areas such as ours in the same manners as is being attempted here. It will also set a precedent that developers do not need to follow the rules that all other residents must abide by. Our area is a rural community known for recreation, country living, and we take pride in our homes, which are our most valuable asset. As residents of Stevens Avenue East, we pay taxes and contribute to the community. We strongly believe that any development should align with the single-family dwelling zoning of our area. Currently, there are 2 buildings on the site which is zoned for only 1 dwelling. We question how this came to be and feel that we as homeowners have a right to have our needs and wishes considered. We oppose the proposed construction of an additional building, which we believe would not benefit the community, but rather negatively impact the value of our homes. We don't agree with the argument that there is a lack of rental accommodations for family and that new construction would increase overall property value. Our community is not a town or a city, and we want to preserve our way of life. Therefore, we request that council listen to the residents and reject this application, ensuring that our area remains zoned for single-family dwellings with 1 building. The RM of St. Andrews public hearing notice to the residents states, "We are listening, and we sincerely hope that our voices will be heard and that our wishes are respected." I have also 3 letters written by residents that I've been asked to read. Accept this letter to be read on my behalf by Diane Durkach at 36 Stevens Avenue East. I have lived on the avenue for about 20 years. I have had quite a few visits this past year from around Manitoba. People were very curious about the units behind the mailboxes. I choose not to relay all the comments, but I will sum it up with an old saying. You can try to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. This is not my saying. Nonetheless, I am not happy with these units here, and I am in total opposition to the owner being granted zoning for multiple housing dwelling. Dated November 12th of 23, Barbara Kuchma, 25 Stevens Avenue. I authorize Diane to read this letter written on my behalf. I do not in any way support multiple housing in our area. We need to maintain the area I've lived in for almost 40 years as single family. Thank you. Marjorie Carter. To whom it may concern, I asked Diane of 36 to read on my behalf. I, Brent Dervalt of 37 Stevens Avenue East in Lockport, oppose the multiple housing dwellings at 35 Stevens Avenue. I did not move from Winnipeg to have to deal with a problem associated with multi-dwellings. Further note, from my own perspective, having been involved, this is the 3rd time I'm involved with a petition in this municipality. At one point, I had kept all of the newsletters that would come out every now and then. In all of that time, up until they quit printing these, I have never ever seen in this newsletter where there's been a need for rental, where it's ever been brought up. While gathering the names for this petition, I asked residents who moved here over recent years how they like living on Stevens Avenue. The response from each was, "I" or "We love it." And signed in opposition of multifamily housing on the avenue as it doesn't fit in, nor is it needed here. Few residents sell and leave, but when the new residents move in, they're able to purchase a home for an affordable price, and that says a lot in the area. There's much interest and concern of our situation by residents outside of our area and are anxious as to what council's decision will be. Many wishing us the best of luck to have this denied, and as if passed, it will set a precedent whereby others who may apply for multi in areas not wanted by the residents of St. Andrews would have to be approved. At this time, they're happy that this didn't happen at their homes. We are asking council to listen to the residents and request your support in rejecting this proposal and any future similar development not be able to proceed within this area.
Any, questions, comments?
Hello, I have one question. Rob Marecki, Councilor Ward 4. How many names have you collected?
We've got 80%.
Okay, 80%, but could you?
Well, I can sit down and count out the names.
Okay, approximate then.
I can only sit and count. I can give you the
90. So we're looking at 90 residents on Stevenson's.
well, if you're asking signatures,
Yes.
well, there's some homes are two residents are signing, some 3 are signing, some 1 are signing.
Okay, the bottom line.
There's 90 homes there, we've got 80%. Also, I have signatures from 2 homes that are on either end, like around the corner from us, and that's not counted in the 80%. But they're concerned.
You have the signatures there, Mr. Finch?
Yes, I do.
Are you able to give them to me?
Oh, yes, I.
Okay.
This is for you with the letters and everything.
You need to grab it from her.
You need a copy back or you have another?
No, this is for the other, hang on, let's take this. This is for the RM.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Hunt?
So in your one letter you read there, said the person didn't move out here to have problems associated with multifamily. What's the opinion there of problems being associated with multifamily?
Well, he's lived in the city and he didn't like living around an area where there was multifamily dwellings. I myself lived in St. Vital with units that were a block and a half around the corner from me. And we had nothing but trouble.
And when you say trouble, what kind of trouble?
Well, we had people, individuals, that they would break into vehicles, steal somebody's tools, they mark the vehicles for theft. We've had our living room windows broken, throwing baby food jars through them. Garbage, you clean your yard, mow the lawn, and people be walking by from the 7-Eleven just a block and a half down the way, and they throw their empty cups, chip bags, and whatever. There was no respect.
Okay, thank you. Slater?
My question is along the same lines as Councilor Hunt. I find it in today's world, I'm surprised that we would say a multi-dwelling is terrible for a area. It's 2 houses with 2 units in it. It's not a high rise.
It's still not single family dwelling, and
It's not a low rental. It's none of those things. We don't have a 7-Eleven on Stevens Avenue. And I'm just really stuck on how you would say that.
It may be none of those things, but it does, the units themselves do not fit in with the single family dwellings that we have. This area that we have, let me read something else here to you, see if I can find it. This was a very poor settlement at one time, and it's evolved over the years, and it's evolved for the better. Where houses are being fixed up, renovated, people are building. And we've been through this, like I say, we've been through this before. This avenue has a history as an original settlement. And that is so, if you look back on that avenue, look at the history of it. And it was recognized in the past by other councils, and it should be recognized by this council. For years, this area was left on its own with a poor population. This area has evolved due to a change in times and economic opportunities. Over the past number of years, this area has now become noticed as a profitable venture for businesses to attempt to take advantage of the changes in the landscape. positive changes have taken place on our avenue, and it's because of us, not because somebody can come in and tell us what we need. Homes have been renovated, homes have been built. We have many longtime residents on this avenue who remain here and in the area, and their children have also made this place their home. Many of these longtime residents have parents, aunts, and uncles who continue to reside here with pride. These elderly residents built this area and are rooted here and would like to continue to enjoy its beauty and charm. Few residents sell and leave, as I said earlier, and those who do stay or are able to find a home to purchase,
Take one last one.
get it with affordability.
What was previously on this lot? Like my understanding, the lot's been empty for years.
Well, it was a White Rose gas station way back, then
And
it
then
went
50s
to
and 60s, am I correct?
it went into a track, go-kart track. And then it sat empty. And then we had somebody come telling us that we needed a car lot. So we spoke out against that. And the fact that it's been empty since 1964 is irrelevant. With the right fit, this wouldn't be a problem. And normally, unless I've got something wrong here, if I was to buy, let's say I bought that property and I wanted to do something on it, I would get my permits, and this hearing document that's on the front of that petition I handed you would be out posted before I did anything on that lot. Am I right in saying that?
It's my understanding that like, maybe this is where some of the confusion is for everyone, because I was confused at this as well. How did this all get started, right? Because they're move-on houses, the RM had nothing to do with it. It all was done through regular planning, who does the permits. So to move a house on, it wasn't a brand new build, it was a RTM, I think is what we call them nowadays. All of that is done through regular planning. There doesn't need to be anybody post a thing. If I buy a lot and want to build or move a house on, I don't have to tell the neighborhood I'm doing this.
If you want to build, you don't have to tell the neighborhood. We had a house built right beside us this past a year ago. You had to post, first of all, the demolition permit of the old house. And
Correct,
the new one.
Okay, we're talking two different things here.
Well, it seems that way.
Permit would have to be to demolish it and build a brand new house. If I buy a lot and I move a house onto it, all of that is done through Red River planning.
Okay,
Is that not correct, Mr. Singh?
what is your issue with our opposition here?
Nothing, I'm just trying to put pieces together.
Well,
That's
I'm giving you all the pieces that I've gathered from the residents.
all. And I'm trying to answer some of your questions that you
Well,
brought forward.
Are you here to answer our questions now? Or are you here to hear us?
We're here to hear you.
Okay,
Okay, we can move on to Councilor Piker. You're finished?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry, Councilor.
The signatures you have there, you're saying you have 80% of Stevens Avenue?
The homes,
The homes on Stevens, you have
the
80%.
homes, 80%. The
80%.
signatures, there's more. Like if you have one home, there's 3 signatures. There could be 2 signatures.
Okay, but in terms of the number of homes down Stevens,
You have 80%.
80%.
And that's not counting the 2 homes that live on either end around the corner from us.
Okay, so there are some signatures that would be outside of Stevens Avenue.
There's 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you take that upon? Like you went
Yes,
door to
I
door?
did. Yes, I did.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here to speak on behalf of myself, and this is a letter of objection. So I object to the conditional use, number 32, 2023. But I'd like to provide some context as to why the council, in my opinion, has no choice but to oppose this as well. So the 4 points I'll elaborate on are the Manitoba Planning Act, the Lockport Settlement Center Secondary Plan, the zoning bylaw 4066, and of course, the affected residents of St. Andrews, Stevens Avenue East. So let's first just take a look at the Manitoba Planning Act. General development requirements, section 71, bracket 2, zoning bylaw must prescribe general development requirements for each zone having regard to any permitted or conditional use for the zone, and in prescribing those requirements, the board or council must consider, and underneath there, the point says the development plan bylaw and any secondary plan bylaw. So with that determines that the council must consider the zoning bylaw and any secondary plan. Let's look at the Lockport Settlement Center Secondary Plan bylaw 4197. Specifically section 1.2.1.2, referring to the zoning bylaw. So a zoning bylaw is the principal regulatory tool to control land use. It establishes various land use districts, determines both permitted uses and conditional uses, and prescribes relevant development standards and requirements that are applicable in each land use district. The development plan is used as a guide in preparing and amending the zoning bylaw. For example, and this says this specifically in there, for example, in considering an application for rezoning, the council shall, and according to the St. Andrews zoning bylaw, shall means mandatory, base its decision on the objectives, goals, policies, and land use laid out in the development. So, bylaw 4197 contains Lockport Settlement Center map 1A, which specifically identifies land use for Stevens Avenue East, which is single-family residential and not multifamily. The map also goes on to specifically identify multifamily land use further north on Highway 9 and to the west. Now, zoning bylaw 4066, section 1.5.1, titled Relation to Other Bylaws and Regulations, states, in the event of conflict between the zoning bylaw and amendments thereto, and any restrictions imposed by a government authority having jurisdiction to make such restrictions, the most restrictive shall apply. So remember, shall means mandatory. In relation to this, the Council of the Arm of St. Andrews had the authority and jurisdiction to enact the Lockport Settlement Center Secondary Plan, bylaw 4197, into law, which is the most restrictive of these documents. Therefore, based on the laws that St. Andrews put in place and has sworn to uphold, the council must oppose this conditional use. Sorry. If that information isn't enough, then you refer to the over 80% of the homes on Stevens Avenue East that have signed the petition opposing the conditional use. Currently, Lockport area residents understand that development is going to occur in Lockport and the surrounding area, according to the Lockport Settlement Center Secondary Plan. This plan proposed the land uses for the area and was accepted by the entire area, not just Stevens Avenue East. To try to change that by using this process can be seen as underhanded and deceptive, as the entire area has not been notified that this conditional use goes against what was shown to and accepted by the residents. I'd ask the question, do you want to be known as the council that didn't listen to its citizens? Potentially, people could say went behind their backs and broke their own bylaw without a proper notification or public engagement? I would think not. And just in case someone wants to claim that by putting the notification on the website, then that means all of St. Andrews was notified, then I suggest to remember that by putting it on the website does not inform the Lockport area residents that this conditional use goes against what was sold to them through public engagement. That wouldn't be right. This is not the first time that someone tried to rezone land on Stevens Avenue for multiple family or multifamily. That occurred in 2011, and the council at the time, again, encountered the majority of residents opposing that application. The council listened to the residents' concerns and rejected that application. And then soon after, that input was put into law when the council enacted bylaw 4197, the Lockport Settlement Center secondary. Maybe sometime in the future, when the Lockport secondary plan is brought in front of the public again for modification, and if the residents agree to the new land proposal, then and only then could a project like this be considered. Based on this evidence, in my opinion, the council has no choice but to oppose this project in order to uphold the very laws it has put in place. That's all I have. You have any questions?
Any questions for?
Sure.
So you're talking about the notice wasn't put up, was there not a notice put up for this variance in front of this address? I thought I saw that.
That's not what I said at all.
What notice were you talking about then?
What I said is if somebody wanted to say that the notice on the website would have alerted all the area residents to this particular change, I would argue that no, it doesn't, because it doesn't identify to residents that this change goes against the Lockport Settlement secondary plan. So it would give a hearing notice of the specific change for that particular thing, but somebody on Lockport Avenue is not going to come out for something on Stevens Avenue unless they know that it's particularly going to be in opposition to what was sold to them in the Lockport secondary plan. That's what I'm getting at.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. That was much clearer.
Yeah, oh, sorry. That's why we can talk and ask questions. Any other questions?
I have a question of the planner. So we've heard the mention of rezoning. So this isn't a rezoning. This is a conditional use, which is allowed within the secondary plan that was presented, that a multifamily can be supported under a conditional use, correct?
So, I mean, to answer the first part, this isn't rezoning, this is just a conditional use. The suburban residential zoning allows for a multifamily, but requires council approval. So if you have like a two-family dwelling, that is permitted use, you don't need a permit for it. You can just go ahead and do it. In terms of the secondary plan, this identifies Stevens Avenue as existing residential and identifies areas up north for multifamily, future multifamily development. So, yeah.
But in the secondary plan, the mechanism is allowed through conditional use to be applied for, correct?
Not in secondary plan. The zoning bylaw allows.
So the zoning bylaw allows.
Yeah. So the secondary plan doesn't identify this, but again, the zoning document allows the resident to apply for a conditional use application.
Yeah, and then the zoning bylaw refers specifically to the secondary plan and the land use that's put out.
Right,
that's
so
where that
the
map
zoning
comes from.
has to align with the secondary plan and the development plan.
So in the map, it shows where those multifamily dwellings are going to be, and that's not what this is.
The orange?
Yeah. But then on top of the secondary plan, there's development plans that identifies this as settlement centers. That allows for a whole range of uses.
Through conditional use.
Yeah, through all sorts of applications.
And just because one of it doesn't mean it applies to the whole area, correct? That's the purpose of conditional use.
Right, all the hierarchy of documents has to be in line.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Paul? Nope. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have a Glenn Lubowski?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna pull it. Okay. Xavier Poole?
I'm opposed to it.
James Peebles here for information. Is that the correct information?
Yeah, I'm just opposed.
Trustee Fletchuk,
I'm opposed.
you want to speak?
No.
And Nathan Warnick?
Yeah, just opposed.
Okay. Everyone's good?
Mr. Chair, I think you've missed someone. I think Kim Brasic was on the list. He was at the top.
Oh, there, sorry, yes, thank you, Kim Bracey.
Sorry, everyone. I won't be as technical, sorry. This is just more, bear with me. I had no intention to present today. It's not something I feel at ease with. I don't ease with, and it's quite outside of my area of expertise. Nevertheless, ever since I learned about this application, it has been occupying my thoughts significantly. So here it goes. I relocated to the community of St. Andrews in 2006. And together with my husband, we built our family's dream home on Stevens Avenue East. At the time, we had a 2-month-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. Prior to moving to St. Andrews, we resided in the western area of Winnipeg. The western area treated us well, allowed us to purchase an affordable starter home at a young age. We put a lot of effort in to make it our own. Once our children came along, things changed. Previously, we didn't mind the small lot sizes and the close proximity of the homes to each other, as well as the mixed duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and apartment buildings scattered throughout the area. However, it was quite busy with frequent noises and some drama, which is to be expected in a densely populated area. The city offered conveniences, less property maintenance, a shorter commute to work, but it also had its drawbacks. And ultimately, we believed the benefits of moving out of the city outweighed the drawbacks. We desired more space, less noise, less traffic, a friendly atmosphere, small class sizes, less drama, and a sense of community. We longed for the kind of country living where you actually know your neighbors and where everyone looks out for each other. Stevens Avenue East was ultimately the location we chose to establish our roots. It is one of the oldest and most established streets in St. Andrews, and compared to the other areas in the community, it has a slightly higher density of homes. Most properties in the area have an acre or more land, but Stevens Avenue offers a mix of options, but provides enough space for our needs without being too burdensome to maintain. However, the most appealing aspect of the street is that the street exclusively featured a single-family homes, as it is zoned for an RA suburban residential. Therefore, we felt confident in investing in this area. In June of 2006, we began construction on our home. We had a very positive experience with the Red River Planning Board, as they were very helpful in providing us with the necessary information and guidance. They took the time to ensure that we followed the proper procedures and obtained the required permits, including inspections throughout the building process. I recall that we were not allowed to start construction until we had these permits in place. Therefore, I am curious to know how 2 structures on 35 Stevens Avenue East came to be. After reviewing the application, it seemed clear that there were lapses in following the established processes and bylaws. I had a difficult night last night. I was unable to sleep, and I pondered the reasons for moving here and the negative impacts in if this application is approved. The story that I recently heard from a former St. Andrew resident has been on my mind, and I would like to share it with you. It involves a young girl who grew up in St. Andrews, where her family owned a house on a spacious 2-acre lot. She often reminisces about the wonderful memories she had in her neighborhood playing outside in her large yard. Unfortunately, her family went through a divorce, and she was forced to relocate to affordable housing in Selkirk with her mother and brother. She expressed her unhappiness with the new place, as the walls were thin and the noise of the neighboring units were constantly heard. She also mentioned the frequent involvement of law enforcement in the area, making it difficult for her at times. Despite these challenges, this determined young girl worked diligently at the age of 14 to help her family save up a down payment on a house outside of the multi-house dwelling zone in Selkirk. She achieved her goal and is now much happier. Her fond memories of the spacious community she grew up in motivated her to pursue this change. The lesson I took from this story is that even in a town well-equipped for multi-housing dwelling zones, such as sidewalks, bus service, grocery stores, hospitals, and schools within walking distance in the RA suburban residential zone is still more desirable. Improper planning and management of a multi-house dwelling zones can lead to major problems. I sincerely desire affordable housing for families facing similar challenges. I strongly support affordable housing for seniors who have contributed to the community and built the community. Nevertheless, implementing it in vacant lots with established RA suburban rental zoned areas seems to lack proper consideration and respect. Our avenue and St. Andrews currently lacks the necessary infrastructure, amenities, effective property management, and community support to ensure success. Such a significant undertaking requires a responsible and mutually beneficial plan that addresses the concerns of both community residents, the investors, and the potential future renters. In 2011, I had the opportunity to participate and gather in this room where we voiced our concerns about yet another proposal for multi-house dwellings conditional use permit for a new project. Council took into consideration the residents' opinions and rejected the application. It was clear that the project did not have the support of the community, just like the current one in 2013. Lockport Settlement Secondary Bylaw number 4197 was finalized, and it deliberately excluded Stevens Avenue East as a designated multifamily residential zone due to the community's strong opposition in 2011. It is important to honor the decision and avoid inconveniencing the residents of Stevens Avenue East every 10 years with another attempt to obtain this permit. The community has spoken, and it is time to respect their wishes. Council members, I kindly request you please take a moment to consider the densely populated areas within your respective wards. Specifically, I would like you to ponder how your residents would feel if multiple duplexes suddenly appeared on a single lot in the RA suburban residential zone neighborhoods without any prior notice or permits. I am confident that the majority of residents would express their dissatisfaction with such a situation. Hence, I humbly request that you approach this matter with the utmost consideration and understanding. This decision may seem straightforward. If you were to approve this application, it would send a message to all developers in Manitoba that they are free to pursue their own interest in St. Andrews without considering the concerns of the residents or the law. You have two options. One, to support one investor on Stevens Avenue East, or two, choose to support the over 80% of the current investors on the avenue, which I personally intend to do. Therefore, I respectfully oppose this application. Council, we kindly request that you consider declining this application as you are the final safeguard for the residents. So thank you for your time. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gracie. Or just at the top there. That includes the opposition. Mr. Coteau, do you want to say anything?
I'm not quite sure if I even understand this. So we're not applying for a multi-family buildings. They're low-rise, single-story buildings that should be permitted on pretty much any lot as a duplex. When I purchased this lot, there's actually two lots there. There's actually lot 19, lot 20. But they're under one title. So it already is subdivided to create two lots. So I don't know if that makes a difference if we have to do the two separate titles, or to keep it one to get more of the confusion out. Because from what I'm understanding, I'm allowed, or anyone is allowed in a single family area that a duplex is allowed. So I think that's where the confusion here is. I think there is two lots, lot 19, lot 20. And it is situated that I can apply for the two lots. So if that's a route that we should go with, as opposed to trying to do a conditional multifamily, like I wouldn't want a multifamily area in that area as well. These are just single family dwellings as a duplex.
Just to be clear, do you have sewer hookup for both those lots?
Not yet.
Capability to have sewer hookup for both those lots?
Yes, I've already speaks with the RM. I believe it's Jason I spoke to. We have emails that have transpired back and forth.
So you're in it,
We stopped it until after this meeting here tonight.
so you're in an area that has sewer hookup,
Correct.
so you can have a smaller lot. That's all of Stevens has sewer hookup?
Councilor Hunt?
Could we have the planner answer that question and that post or the comment?
Right, so the question about a duplex, being permitted on every lot. In the RA zone, 2-family unit or a duplex is a permitted use. But anything over 2 units is considered as a multifamily as per the definitions. That requires a conditional use. The lot 19 and 20, or as the applicant said, there's 2 lots. There is a plan of subdivision registered, but there's only one title. So the requirements would apply to one title. Now they can go to the land titles office and ask for a second title. And if they have 2 titles, then yes, they can have 2 dwellings on separate titles.
Councilor Slayton?
So, just so I understand, so if even if he got, by chance council gave him the variance today, then he can turn around and go to land title, get 2 separate titles, and everything that we are discussing here from everyone, which is a wonderful discussion, is null and void because he owns 2 pieces of property.
Right, so if the
Right,
registrar
okay.
issues 2 titles, then it would be 2
2
titles.
titles
And
and
you can
things,
have
but
duplex on each
you
title.
could put a house on either one. Because they have sewer hookups,
Right.
okay?
But are
It
the
is-
buildings on the one lot? The other lot is free, is it not to the east? They're on both, they're on each lot?
It's situated, this is on this lot and this is on that lot, as per the site plan that was on the TV there earlier.
You don't have titles for both lots, titles for one.
Titles for one, correct.
Put 2
Correct.
multi-house.
This was my easier route to go as opposed to going to let. This was the easier route going to getting 2 titles to apply for conditional use. Which they'll kind of land up the same. There it is on the screen. As stated on there, you could see lot 19, lot 20.
So to reiterate, if you do go to land titles and separate those 2 lots, those 2 dwellings are permitted, 1 for each lot, based on the bylaw.
Based on the bylaw, correct?
There seems to be a lot of conversation about this multi-family, multi-dwelling thing. I think I know in my mind where everyone is going with that. Do you care to tell us if like, I don't know if this is my place to ask this question or not. I'm not assuming you're planning to use them as low rent.
No.
Any cost amount, any cost figures in your mind of like what, if I was to rent one when it's ready?
With all expenses and everything that went into it, as you can see in the papers, I didn't bring any I have an extra copy that I wanted to bring up for everybody else to view, which I could leave
I
here.
can pass mine around if anybody's interested. Anybody want to see it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Paul?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the right to ask that. I'm just trying to.
Well, after it, like you could go into the Selkirk area. There's been new buildings that have went up there, multi-family buildings, which I consider multi-family, like a 4-story building. So those ones there, they range from the 3 bedrooms, which are nowhere this size of building. We're looking at close to 1,300 square feet per unit. So they're huge. So I was hoping to be around 1975 per month. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh,
Let's go with there. Can I just?
you
say
can
it?
go right ahead.
Okay, I just. Neighbor, hi, because we understand the first one where we all were kind of like, ooh, what is this? And
I agree they
we weren't
did.
sure what it was gonna turn into. I don't think it fits quite with what we had going on, but whatever. We understand you could put a house on a lot. It's connected, could be a duplex. We understood that. We did look into that. Second one, that was whatever. The reason we're fighting so hard on the avenue is let one conditional use come through. It's not necessarily yours we're worried about, it's the ones coming after. So neighbor, we're not here to get you.
No, I understand
We have to
that.
fight for the avenue, and that's just unfortunately what we have to do. We have to follow the law.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I have a question. So I own property on Stevens Avenue. If I want to build a house next door, I have to split my lot. I can't just, I mean, with the way this looks, I could just build a house there and apply for permits later. But I have to split my lot. I have to pay taxes on both lots. I have to pay sewer hookup on both lots. I have to pay all kinds of stuff on both lots. Is he not skirting that by putting 2 duplexes on 1 lot?
Good question.
It's 1 lot.
Any question?
So there is a plan of subdivision already registered,
That's what I.
so it's lot 19 and 20. If that was not registered, then they would have to go through the process of a subdivision.
That's already been done.
No, for this one, yes, but if it's not, then you have to go through a subdivision process. For this one, there is a plan of subdivision registered.
But it's still not carried through.
We have a building.
We have 2 buildings on 1 lot.
Yeah, and that's, we had talked. Yeah.
So is this something that we could build into the conditions? That we need to go to land titles and get it split?
Or table it.
That is a separate issue.
Why are they?
Right now, there's only one,
Okay, okay,
so that's a different issue.
thank you.
Can I just mention one thing? Right now, every resident along Stephen has its own driveway access. So if they were to separate these lots, they would need a separate driveway access and all this, but that would also go into the corner of 238. So just because that was submitted, if no one's actually come to look at this lot, if you can't get the driveway access in there, how are they ever going to actually separate these lots to begin with? Sorry, I build and renovate homes, so this is something that I mainly do renovations, and you know, this wouldn't fly, you know, in most cases, you know.
Any other questions?
I got one. Who's gonna be responsible for yard maintenance and snow cleaning and everything else?
All hired up. All hired up. Snow and snow and
Who
lot.
has been cutting the grass and maintaining the property so far?
Myself.
Nobody. Like I've been looking at sea cans and garbage piles for 2 years now, and it's still the same. Like, how long is this gonna take?
That's right. Yeah, I think we're drifting off the point here. We're here, first of all, to look at a conditional use request. Conditional use request, multifamily, required conditional use, proposed multifamily development. That's what we're here.
Mr. Paul, one more.
Yeah, it sounds like, I don't know, from the conversations that are happening here, the discussions, they're really good, that, sounds like there's a solution right there. You can deny the multifamily, conditional use and split the block, like he was mentioning. So it sounds like, you know, you can appease both the residents and our new neighbor.
What if it was to be tabled and then if the lots, if you got two titles and the application would be withdrawn? And of some perception that if it was approved, there's a precedent sets, which is not, because it's each conditional use or variance is always on its own merit or individually, but it could be tabled until further information is provided.
Yeah, so if the council doesn't want to make a decision tonight, they can table this application. And then decide on a date later.
So if it was to get tabled, then it's not put to rest, but it's not denied and it's not accepted. I would have to go through the steps of not subdivided, of getting two certain titles.
Yeah.
If you go ahead and approve this conditional, then why would he bother even splitting the lot? Like, why are we, why is, what, this is what we're fighting. I mean, why is a problem created by somebody our problem? That's not our problem. It's become a problem.
I understand everyone's reasoning here. I really
Yes,
do.
and the
I
other
do.
thing, another question was asked by our counselor about, well, is this going to be low-income housing? And the applicant says, well, no, we don't know how long he may not own this in 5 years. We don't know that.
I'll stop on that, please. This whole thing started, and I woke up one morning and I'm like, geez, it's getting hard to get out of bed. I need to do something. This is where real estate came in. I've been in construction for 36 years, odd years. 53 years old. I decided that I need to do at least one rental property for the next 7 to 10 years before I retire. So this property is not going anywhere when I'm dead. It's already getting passed on to my kids. So it's not going anywhere else but in my family.
So we, I guess, can we table this for information, or does that have to be at the end?
At the end.
At the end. Okay, let's make a decision at the end here. Move on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Singh.
Conditional use application CU 34 located at 606 McPhillips Road. The applicant wishes to establish a home industry use, that's cart sales, to operate on the subject property in the agriculture restricted zone. This is the use table. As I said before, the applicant wishes to establish a home industry
Gentlemen,
in the ER zone.
Wait, keep it down, please. We can listen to the ladder.
This is the location map. The property gains access from McPhillips Road. This is the site plan provided by the applicant. There's an existing house and a shed at the property. For council's consideration, the operation of the applicant's business will be exporting various vehicles and parts outside of Canada. There will be a shipping container dropped off at the site every 3 to 4 months and will stay at the property for 3 to 5 days while it's being loaded and then picked up and shipped away. This application was circulated to the RM of St. Andrews and Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure. We did not receive any objections on this application. If the council wishes to approve this application, Red River Planning recommends 12 conditions that are reflecting on the screen. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions? We have an applicant here, make presentation. Yes. Richard?
Yeah, Richard. Hi.
I just bought a house at McPhillips. It's not, probably I'll move in the next 2 weeks. I used to have a small business that I'm doing somewhere close to I think Places. It's a small business where I'm making intention of buying a large kind of land so I can have this small business going on. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to buy some cars, which I buy it from somewhere MPI or somehow I look around. And what I do is I intend to it takes a while, a little bit. It takes probably somehow a month, 2 months to get the cars because nowadays cars are expensive. So I bring the container. What I do is I bring the container to sit there for a couple, maybe 3 to 4. It depends. It's the cutoff. So 3 to 4 days to 5 days, the container should be leaving to West Africa. And my plan was to get a shed, which is the mechanical style, so I can actually take the motors and then put it there, store the motors for a few weeks. And then after that, what I do is I transport them to the container. And it's been hard these days because of getting a place to do this job because I don't have enough, money or income to go and rent. So it took about maybe around 3 years for me to try and get enough money to purchase a house where I can usually use it as a conditional use. I think I have my letter intent says that the vehicles will be shells. The vehicle shells after December will be picked up in the time manner. So having all this thing done within either a day or 2 days, any car that I take it from the car, any engines that I take it from the car, the engine will be gone to the recycle. And then the nature of the business won't apparent from the street side view. That means I won't be having, because all these things, I don't sell anything here. All the stuff that will be done will be taken to into the container to West Africa. And what actually makes me think that before I purchased this land, I was able to go through because I called the RM and I tried to explain it to them. And they said, I think one at Northumberland that I wanted to purchase, they said, no, they said flat no. They said, you can't do that kind of job over there because it's not meant to that. So we waited and then we saw this and I called them again. I said, okay, what about this place? And then they said, I should apply, I might be able to get it. But before that, I had to even go and make a research between my neighbors and see if I'm even close to them, which is a little bit apart from them. And I can see from the back of my house, if you can see the drawing, please, there is nothing like a house or anything over there to disturb anyone. So that is the nature of my job. Please, any question?
Have you already purchased the land? Or is this application approval hinges on purchasing the land?
Oh, the house and it's already purchased.
You already own
yeah, I'll get it on the 20th of this month. Yes, please.
So basically, you're recycling all of the parts from the car.
Oh, yes. If I get the car, then when I take the engine, maybe in a few days, I take the motor into the 40-feet container. And then I have to get amount, which is sometimes maybe 20 engines or 1510, you put in the container and then it goes to that.
The body parts, transmissions, glass.
I take everything. The only thing I just don't take is the shell, which I have a tow truck that will take it from there. That's the only thing, yeah.
What do you do with the oil and antifreeze and all that kind of stuff that comes with all these vehicles?
Very good. Yes, what I do is, since the shed, because we have how we do the shed, we have certain, I don't know, it's called sawdust. You know, it melts down. It takes them sawdust, right? That's why we put it in the container. Rather than that, then you're gonna get charged to transport from here to Ghana, which actually take about a month to 3 weeks. So imagine if you have that. So we have them in place. What you do is you put it there because that's where you have to cement it out with a shed. So that place, the same place, when you pour and then you have that sawdust, it absorbs them. It doesn't go anywhere.
So what you're saying is that environmentally, you're just putting the oil and the antifreeze into sawdust. You're not actually taking it back to recycling depot. You're having someone come in.
It depends. You know, most of the cars, like the antifreeze, when you take, let's say you take the condenser and stuff, it doesn't pour away. It goes straight in the container. But let's say you have one car that has, let's say it has a little bit of an accident or leaking. That's when the sawdust come in. So all the sawdust, oil, everything, it goes to the container. It doesn't go anywhere. Because when you pick up the engine is stored on the shed, like in the shed for probably, I don't know, maybe it takes like 2-3 weeks and it's cemented. So the oil doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't drop. Unless when you have an accident, which a car has an accident, then you have that, then you put the sawdust there.
So you didn't answer my question though. So what happens to the oil in the engines from these cars that you get, and whether there's antifreeze or not in the vehicle? Some of these carcinogens have to go somewhere. They can't just go into sawdust into a bucket.
What we do is, if, like you mean, if the engine has an oil, or no, it goes in the container.
And then where does the container go?
That's a 40-feet container, please. That from Hapaloid or MSC.
And then where did that oil go from that container? Is it goes to Africa?
It goes, yeah, it doesn't leak, because remember, if it leaks, you have a penalty. So you take the engine that has the oil, it goes in the container. And that's when you have the sawdust in there. So it doesn't leak or anything.
Any other questions? That's a good one.
How many vehicles do you plan on bringing onto the property, like per month, or do you have a certain amount? Like how many engines did you say, or what's the weight of the container before you ship?
Oh, the weight of the container, you're supposed to have it depends. You don't have to go more than 500,000 or so, which unbelievable. It could never happen. So what the cars, it depends. Because most of the cars, like I said, it's expensive nowadays. It wasn't like before. So a month, sometimes it takes me even 2 to 3 months to do one container, or 4 months. I can get maybe around maybe a month, maybe like 10 cars, 7 cars. It depends, like I said. Nowadays, it's not like cheap before, like cheap. So it's really expensive nowadays.
I took a drive past your property that you bought. Your driveway area is pretty narrow. How do you plan on getting the trucks that are going to take the containers in and out of the driveway?
Okay. When you enter my driveway, on the left side, there's a lot of trees there. That's still part of my land. And that trees, even before I bought it, there's a driveway over there. When I bought it, there's a driveway that goes at the back over there. I don't know, when I came, it was there. So the container doesn't go all the way back over there. Actually, the container will come a little bit like at the back of my house. And then I'll move the bobcat to bring the engines in there.
And I can get it out when it's full.
What's that again?
How will we get it out when it's full of engine?
It will go because I'm gonna, yeah, it will, because over there, all I have to do is put some either cement it off or probably put gravels or something, and they are good. Because even though if that place is not nice, they won't even come.
Any questions? Councilor Murphy?
Yes, I have a question. If we could just expand on this container trailer business right now. Okay, you've got a narrow driveway. You've got a busy highway. Okay. What the truck's gonna have to do is the truck's gonna actually have to back in from the highway into a narrow driveway. Okay. What we're talking about here is we're talking about a roll-on, roll-off sort of system. Okay. The container is gonna be on the roll-on truck. It enters your driveway, and then as soon as it touches the ground, it's not in compliance because you need permits to have a container on your property. Are you aware of that?
I've seen a lot of my neighbors have containers. I don't know, but I know for sure that Oak Bend, someone is doing it. It comes. I don't know if I need a permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you do. The exception is if the container is on wheels. I don't think that's the case. You don't load containers that are on a dog.
My neighbors have quite a few containers sitting there. Both sides.
I know we're not talking about your neighbors though.
Okay.
The other concern is soil contamination, groundwater contamination, antifreeze oil, gasoline, refrigerant, batteries, and tire storage. How do you plan to deal with the amount of tires?
It all goes. When I finish, let's say I have a place that, like I said, if I'm able to do it, I have a shed where I can store them, and then later on, I put in the container. And all batteries doesn't stay here; it all goes. Everything on the car goes to Africa. Everything.
There's another issue here. You're going to be dismantling vehicles and whatnot. The equipment you use to dismantle vehicles can be noisy. Air-powered equipment, grinders, acetylene torches. So certainly an increased risk of fire there. The issue that I have is the residents in the area are located in close proximity. If you take those on the maps, they're relatively close together. I would say that it's more like an urban environment. It's not like a rural setting. That it would be very close to your neighbors.
My neighbors, okay. So when you enter the property, my neighbor is right there. He or she, they're not close to me. You can see from there, one is more far from me, which is the left side. The right side is kind of, but not even close to my house. But the thing is, everything is gonna be done in the shed. So I think that time there's no noise when you have a shed that like is properly made for that. It doesn't make noise. And secondly, where I'm going to do my stuff, there's no even house. There's nothing over there. Where I'm gonna build a shed, what I'm gonna do everything over there. If you can look at the back of the house, there's nothing over there. Left and right, there's nothing. There's no house, there's nothing over there, please.
Okay. So you'll be a registered recycler, so you'll have to follow guidelines which is set out by registered recyclers. You'll have to comply with guidelines that they use to dispose of transmission oil, engine oil, antifreeze.
Oh, I go by the rules.
So you will follow those rules?
Yes, please.
You
Because
registered? Okay.
Yes, you registered. What they do is they can just pick it up the same day or the next day. That's what they do.
Any other questions of the planner? So CCAN is allowed on AAD land or agriculture restricted?
Right, it would be considered an accessory structure.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We have some residents opposition of Ryan Baudry.
Hello. I'm opposed to this. As a journeyman diesel mechanic, I understand very much so on what happens in a vehicle when you start taking it apart. In a shop or outside, you have all of your fluids leaking. Using sawdust has been deemed illegal in Manitoba because as it absorbs the oil or any other contamination, it becomes a severe fire hazard. So you have to use proper absorbent material, spill kits, and everything else like that, which are costly. My concern is there's still going to be a lack of respect for that. As a journeyman, I will confess I've done it myself, dumping things on the ground and going, oh well, throw a little bit of dirt on it and continue on in the field of taking things apart. With that also said, I moved out of Winnipeg in 2020 to the location now. I am at 595 McPhillips Road, which is surrounded by the farmer's field, to get away from all of this noise. So I work shift work at times. There is a lot of other things around there that cause noise. There's the traffic, there's truck traffic, car traffic, and everything else. I do not feel like listening to more mechanic noise all day long and then all night long and on the weekends. It would drive anybody else insane. Pretty much all that I have to say about this. I oppose it. I don't think it is fair to anybody else in that neighborhood to have to listen to that all day, every day.
Terry Halleck.
Hi, council. First of all, I just want to make a comment. I'm 594 McPhillips Road. I have little over 11 acres agriculture land. That's what we're designated for, not for somebody to come in and open a business of tearing cars apart. We already have a busy road, 230. And I think drawing in more traffic is very more dangerous. I know turning into my own property. I have trailers. I haul just personal stuff or bricks and stuff like that. And turning into my driveway, which is much wider than the purchased property. I have difficulties making that turn. And I also know it's very dangerous as people try to pass you, even when you've got your signals on. So that's a big concern. Other than the most important part, my land, like I said, is agriculture, and I'm going to have this new party come in. As he said, oh, I'm further back. Well, guess what? He's in the middle of my wheat. He's in the middle of my agriculture land where, like my neighbor Ryan and friend knows, when you go back there and it'll leak in the soil, it goes deeper in the soil, goes deeper in the soil. Is it going to come to my well water? Are our well waters connected? Is he connected to my, there's a lot of questions that I don't know what's under the ground, but I'm very concerned that I have a chop shop coming in when down highway number 8, there's plenty of lots for sale for this kind of stuff. And I think if he's going to build a shed, build one over there. They got lots, 3 acres, 5 acres, 7 acres for sale. And it's not in agricultural land, not in residential land. It's for businesses. And, I'm very opposed. And I'd be very upset at the council if they allowed a chop shop in the middle of agricultural land where we all have different kind of farms, gardens, whatever, growing in the back of our fields. My property, when I bought it in 2021, was approved for subdivision. I didn't buy it for that. I bought it to get my hobby farm going. And that's my plans for the future, for when I plan to retire. Thank you very much.
We have a Murph.
It's enough sitting there. Good evening. So I'm a resident in my home next door for over 30 years. Seen lots of neighbors come and go. I would welcome new neighbors, no problem. But I'm going to reflect also on what Mr. Halleck has said. I've lived in this neighborhood for a long time. I consider it a peaceful, rural, zoned agriculture, rural, urban, however you might call it. And I think there's a time and a place for a business of this nature, which I am not opposed to, but it has to be located in the proper area. I do not want to live next to a business that's grinding up cars. I don't expect that with all the potential, anything he tries to do to make sure that something is prevented, you are not going to be able to prevent leakage from these vehicles if they're MPI wrecks, brake fluid, what have you. There's going to be contamination. I also do much gardening and I don't have to be close to, my house is separated a bit, but does that mean that I can't be on the side of my property? Like where his intention is to actually build is where I'm doing all sorts of things, right? Whether it's yard work or it's the garden or what have you, right? And I don't want to be looking at a 10-foot fence because if I want that, I'd be in the city. And a shop that's, in the back that's grinding away. So I have to admit, I was a bit, perplexed that I even had to come down tonight because it just seems so odd to me that a proposal of this nature is even being considered. I think I heard the applicant say something about trying to buy or look at a property on Northumberland, and it was a flat no. And I thought, well, that's what I would have thought all along. How is something like a chop shop somehow even considered in an agriculture area? Like in terms of residential agriculture. I just don't even understand how it even got through step one. So a bunch of concerns, certainly noise, traffic. I would expect the value of my property for resale takes a bit of a nosedive, and that's a fact. And environmental, big issues. The other thing we've had businesses come and go, right? I should say neighbors come and go. And it's not been unusual for neighbors to be in a business of some sort or another. But where we live, I take a lot of solace in the fact that even businesses where I've had neighbors that had fairly large trucking companies, I never saw his trucks in his yard. This was his residence. The business was in an industrial park. And that's where this business belongs. I welcome this family as neighbors and residents, but I'm very much opposed to the fact that this would be a neighbor that has this type of business in very close proximity. It's quite narrow in that first stretch. I don't know if it's more than 150 feet for a shop. That's right. Basically, any kind of a shop of any kind of size is going to be like right next to the property practically. Okay. That's all I've got to say. I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I was talking to the fellow that is directly north at 610, Mr. Planer. He's on the list.
Yeah, I see him as video recorded.
But he's got mobility issues and he's got some eyesight issues, so he can't even write well. So what do you want me to do? So I basically just filmed him on my phone for his statement. And I don't know if that's appropriate, that if I would play that for you.
If he's
On
on
his
the list,
behalf.
if he's on the list, I'll listen to it, sure.
Okay.
McPhillips Road property. Today is November 14th. I realize there's a meeting, a conditional meeting, regarding this property. And I right now, and take it to the meeting. But I do want to express my extreme, and I mentioned extreme, and I cannot express more regard for this conditional use permit. I am 100%, 110% against it. Okay, I do not want to have a chop shop or a car sales program right next door to my house. Okay, my house is in very close proximity to my next door neighbor's property. Okay, and there is going to be problems with rats. There's going to be problems with rodents. There's going to be problems with water. There's going to be all sorts of issues. And this is not an industrial park. This is our rural agricultural area. Okay, this is not designed for industrial use. Now, according to the information that I received, this man wants to claim he's going to have a car sales. I don't know this man, and I have no understanding of what he plans to do. But we want to have good neighbors in this property here next door to us, as well as all the other neighbors are concerned as well. And we want to express our extreme displeasure that our area is going to be turned into an industrial park. Okay, so that's all I have to say on this matter. I hope that all the members in council can hear me and understand my viewpoint and regard my vote as being valid. Okay, like I said, I do have mobility issues. I won't be able to make the meeting today, but I do want to express 110% my a viewpoint on this matter. Okay, and that is I am against it, and I'll just leave it at that. Thank you very much. Hello.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so basically, position.
Hi, I lived in that Pleasant area in 620 McPhillips for 60+ years. We never had anybody try to put a chop shop or anything like that. It was mostly agricultural, and we like to keep it that way. We don't want any kind of concerns that we're gonna have with groundwater or just an unsightly manner around the neighborhood. As you can see, there's pretty nice places around the area, and we don't want a chop shop there. It's mostly, you know, for the environment and the value of our homes. And I think everybody else that spoke about this, you know, has the right concerns about not pushing this through. I just definitely vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One more, Scott.
Good evening. I'm at 616 McPhillips Road. My wife and I moved out here about 5 years ago. And before that, I have long history as well. Tim is my uncle, my grandfather, John Kislick. I grew up on this property. So it was very important to me to bring my family out to this area and keep building our roots. I can go on about the environmental concerns and the unsightly result of what this would mean. But from my personal perspective, I have 4 children, 3 years old, 6 years old, 11 and 15. They constantly go to the mailbox. They enjoy that walk. They enjoy being careful on the highway. We're trying to teach them safety. But when we heard about this, my wife and I were quite concerned about the added traffic, the added commercial traffic that this would bring, as well as the rodents and things like that, to increase our concerns with the highway. Our kids are safe, they're smart. It's already a very busy highway, and this just pushed that over the edge. It would be a lot more traffic, even if it is only every couple of days. In the summer, the kids enjoy being in the neighborhood. They enjoy their friends that they have around, and it is a grave concern. We're both against the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the opposition. Does the applicant want to say anything about the opposition? Come up here, please.
I think I just want to get it clear a little bit. I'm not chopping, like, it's not like a chop, it's a small business. That's the main thing I'm doing. It's not like I'm a mechanic, or I'm doing a heavy mechanic over there, or I'm selling cars or anything. It's just like a 2, 3 to 4, 5 months. Like, let's say a year, I can make maybe 2, 3 containers. And it's not like I'm bringing like 100 cars to strip or 50 cars to strips. I just buy a minimum amount, which I strip, and I don't even leave, because the thing is, I'm here and the container is supposed to take 1 to 3 weeks to get to Africa. So within that cycle, if I still purchase car and put it there, or install the cars over there, how am I gonna get my money back? The money, it runs, it goes in circles, it goes cycles, because if I don't get it, then I can't do container. So I take time. It's not like I'm gonna have 100 cars sitting there and I'm gonna have a shop that I butcher cars over there every day. It's a small business that I started. And it's not like, how do I have to say? It's not like I'm storing the cars over there. I heard that they said I'm gonna make noise. Farmers are there, they make noise too. I'm coming there, the agriculture, they make noise. I could be like, oh, I'll be sleeping that time too, which they probably do their stuff over there, but I won't complain. But to see where the house is and where I'm going, there's no neighbors over there. That place is nothing over there. And I'm not gonna bring in people. I'm not gonna tell people come because I'm not meant to sell anything or do anything here. What I do is just take the motor and store it right inside the shed. And let's say I get 10 or 15, I take them to Africa. That's all that I do. So I think maybe I understand their prayer, but they think maybe I'm coming there to chop cars, or dismantle cars. But it's not a big business. I'm working alone. I don't have anyone coming in. So I think that's the question that I want to let them know, that it's not something that I don't even have anyone to work for me. It's just me, myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item 4.2.
I have a question to the council.
Is it pertaining to what the application?
No, it's pertaining to this. Why would you send out public hearing notice saying it's an industry for car sales, but yet we're talking about a chop shop and environmental issues? Two different things here.
Interesting.
I would just want to add too, that it may be a small business as it is right now, but what happens if it becomes wildly successful?
Right, so the way
no more questions. We're gonna stop right there for all the other comments. Go ahead.
Right, so the notice says home industry use, and then in bracket car sales. I believe that was the information that was conveyed. And that's what's on the notice. The home industry use is conditional use in this zone. That's the use, home industry.
Okay. Can you run the variance?
This is variance application VO 99/2023. The subject property is located at 178 Ostermann Road. The applicant wishes to reduce the building separation from the required 10 feet to 2.5 feet for the pergola and 3.08 feet for the pool house in the A80 zone. This is the variance requestable. As I just said, the building separation is required 10 feet from the furthest projection, and the applicant is proposing a pergola that's 2.5 feet and a pool house that's 3.08 feet. This is the location map. As you can see, the property gains access from Ostermann Road. This is the site plan provided by the applicant. There is an existing house and a sunroom, and the applicant wishes to put the deck right here. And this is the pool house. So the distance between the deck and the pergola is on top of the deck. That is the separation. As I said before, the section 3.2.3.1 of the bylaw talks about separation distances, and that is 10 feet clear of all projections. This was circulated to the RM and we did not receive any concerns. If the council wishes to approve this application, we just have two standard conditions. Number one, this variance is limited to what is presented in this application. Any further changes would require the approval. Number two, the applicant owner obtains all the required permits from Red River Planning District. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Singh? No? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Variance application PO 111/2023. The subject properties are located at 22 and 28 Ednora Road. The applicant wishes to reduce the required site area for the lots in the agriculture general and seasonal residential zone. This variance is part of a conditionally approved subdivision application S 222961. This is the variance request table. The applicant wishes to reduce the area from required 80 acres to 2 acres for one lot, and from 1.37 acres to 1.09, 1.08 for 3 lots. This is the location map. The properties gain access from Ednora Road. This is the subdivision application map. This was approved last year. For context, the red is the SR zone. So proposed lot 2, 3, and 4 don't meet the 1.38 acre requirement. And the green is the A80 zone and doesn't meet the 80 acre requirement. As I said before, the original subdivision S222961 that was approved by the St. Andrews Council and the Red River Planning District Board. This variance is just a condition of approval for that subdivision application. If the council wishes to approve this application, we just have one standard condition. This variance is limited to what is presented in this application. Any changes would require any variance approval. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions, Mr. Singh?
Just a comment, like you had said, this is one of the conditions, so this is one of the conditions probably is the subdivision is nearing completion.
Right. Yes.
And this is one of the last conditions that was approved in the initial subdivision.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
This is variance application VO 1/2023. The subject property is located at 8 Mirey Creek Drive. The applicant wishes to vary the combined floor area for all accessory buildings from the required 1,200 square feet to 1,693.6 square feet in the rural residential zone. This is the variance request table. As you can see, the maximum required by the bylaw is 1,200 square feet, and the applicant is proposing 1,295.6. This is the subject property. It gains access from Mirey Creek Road. This is the site plan provided by the applicant. The applicant is proposing a new pool house. As I said before, the applicant is proposing to construct a pool house that is 493.5 square feet. This will result in increased combined floor area to 1,693.6. The owner has one existing detached garage that is about 1,200 square feet. This application was circulated to the RM of St. Andrews, and we did not receive any objections on this. If the council wishes to approve this application, we just have 2 standard conditions. This variance is limited to what is presented in this application. Any changes would require new approval. Number 2, the applicant owner obtains all the required permits from Red River Planning District. Thank you. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Dennis, the applicant, you want to speak?
That was one before. No, I don't think he has a comment. He's here.
Dennis, sorry. We have a Jeff Wheeler.
So we're just actually a small correction. We're actually just looking to rebuild a structure that was there due to fire. I work with Priority Restorations and got called in just to do a rebuild. I believe the homeowner had reached out to her neighbors and there's no objections. Questions for me?
Any questions?
Same footprint as before?
Exactly the same.
Our
Gentleman from the Ednora, I don't know whether he had a comment or not.
it was in support. Was that
support? Okay.
Are you back there? Yeah, sorry about that. I missed you on that one there.
I didn't know, didn't think you needed to hear from me, so that's why.
That's you're in support?
Yeah, I'm here in support. If you want me to say anything or.
If you want to say something quickly before we close it, yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking to get my, for the variances. I actually didn't think I needed to come back here again because I already had my approval for the subdivision and everything and the rezoning. So when I was actually going through all my conditions there, I found out that I didn't just have to pay the money. I had to come back again and get this done. So that's the reason why I'm just back again. And there's no opposition to any of my neighbors or anything with the subdivision that is sort of.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Public hearing. We'll go to close the public hearing. Be resolved that the council hereby close the public hearing for the November 14th, 2023 planning application. Can I get a mover, please? Councilor Hunt, seconder. Councilor Mondor, all in favor? Carried. Resolution section 4.5, resolution decision for conditional use. As the applicant owner of tax roll number 217700 has made application for conditional use number 32-2023 for the premises described as lots 1920 block 1 plan 1489 35 Stevens Avenue East. Anyone want to talk about this?
I don't know, I would like to see it tabled. I see some of the most of the conversation was the fear of it being approved and setting a precedence around that, which usually isn't the case. They're all on an individual basis, but if it was tabled and the applicant could get the 2 titles, then it would be allowed as to be there. But you know, then the application could be withdrawn and there would be no hearing, no decision on the conditional use. So that's kind of what I heard. What a lot of the fear is, and which would alleviate that fear that a conditional use is not being approved or denied. What the outcome would be, but I think it's fair to table, in my opinion.
This is all new to me, but when I think about what you're saying, and it's whether it's fortunate or it's not fortunate, there are 2 lots, simply just get a title change to make it in 2 titles, right? From 1 title to another to 2 titles. If that would work, then I would table it and then the RM is not part of it anymore. That's correct.
Well, if he couldn't meet that condition of tabling it, and then he'll come back to it, then the public hearing has already been conducted, then we make a decision on it at that time.
Sir, sorry, just a quick comment. The council closed the public hearing, so you cannot table it, but you have 60 days to make a decision on it.
Okay. Yeah, we've done that before. Okay.
So it would just come back then, if that was your thing?
You just have 60 days to make a decision.
Okay.
Or you can make a decision now. It's up to council.
I would like to hold it over.
Councilor Murphy?
Yeah, I'd like to make a decision on that now.
My personal opinion is I have some real issues in regards to how this building got placed there without any permits.
Not there.
Well, I'd still like to voice my opinion about it though.
Are you for tabling it or are you for voting on it?
So first of all, not tabling, we don't have to make a decision today. We have 60 days to make a decision. And that would be
would you prefer, council prefer to do 60 days, make a decision in 60 days? That would be the January planning meeting?
Or December.
Yeah. Or December? Okay.
Or sooner, up to 60 days to make a decision.
So the next planning meeting would be December.
He would know by that time.
And then you'll have
2 titles.
Yeah,
If you could get
I
2
think that
titles.
sounds.
Okay, so let's do that.
Yep.
It is.
Make a decision.
Okay. So how would you like to propose we do that? Yeah.
How do we word that?
Have we word that?
If they want to postpone the ruling on the conditional use.
No, I don't think we have to postpone it. We just make a decision. We'll come back at another meeting with our decision. Just like when we have to make a decision, if we don't approve something, that we just make sure we do it within 60 days.
Does that require a resolution?
No, I don't believe it requires a resolution, no.
Okay, so it'll just stay there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
But why are they fighting this? I don't know.
Next one. Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 240500 has made application for conditional use number 342023 for the premises described as OT 88 606 McPhillips Road. Purpose to allow home district use car sales on the subject property in the AR agricultural restricted zone. Ellen. Now therefore be resolved that conditional use number 342023 be hereby approved by council with the following conditions. This approval is limited to home industry use as presented in this application. Any change in use may require new conditional use approval. Applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District, the Arm of St. Andrews. Applicant owner applies all requirements for the section listing home industries as outlined in the Arm of St. Andrews zoning bylaw. Number 4066, applicant owner to obtain an annual business license from the Arm of St. Andrews. Hours of operation shall be Monday to Sunday between 7 and 11 p.m., 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Property shall be maintained in a manner that not become unsightly. Proposed storage shed and shipping container laydown area to be enclosed within opaque fencing. No exterior storage materials or equipment, including storage containers, shall be permitted except in areas enclosed within opaque fencing. A maximum of one shipping container shall be permitted on the property. Use of property must adhere to the municipality's noise bylaw. The conditional approval is valid for a period of 10 years, subject to extension. The applicant owner obtains approval from the Provincial Department of Manitoba Transportation Infrastructure if required. All in favor? Oh, sorry, can I get a mover, please? Councilor Feeble-Corn, seconder. Councilor Mondor, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution for rejection. Whereas council has considered the application conditional use 342023, the Red River Planning District Development Plan, the Arm of St. Andrews zoning bylaw and input provided at the public hearing. Therefore be it resolved that the application has to be rejected for the following reasons. The application may generate negative impacts on adjacent properties and not compatible with the general residential and agricultural nature of the surrounding area.
I would also like to add environmental issue.
You had edit on there? Environmental impact? Okay. Mover? Councilor Steicher, seconder, Councilor Mondor, all in favor? Okay. 7. Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 256300 has made application for variation order for number 99-203 for the premises described as point PT Northeast 29-13-4E 178 Ostermann Road. Purpose to allow 2 building separations for the pergola and pool house on the subject property. Now therefore be resolved that variation order number 99-2023 be hereby approved by council with the following conditions. The variance is limited to what's proposed within this application. Any changes will require a new variance approval, and applicant owner obtain all required permits and approvals from the Red River Planning District. Can I get a mover, please? Councilor Steicher, seconder, Councilor Mirey, all in favor? Carried. .8. Whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 449500 and 449550 has made application for variation order number 111-2023 for the premises described as Southwest 19-17-4E 22 and 28 Ednora Road. Purpose to reduce the minimum site area for proposed lots within the SR seasonal residential zone and the site area with the A80 zone for CT 2823855/1. The requested variance in this application is part of the conditions within the conditionally approved subdivision application S22-2961. Now therefore be resolved that variation order number 111-2023 be hereby approved by council with the following conditions. That this variance is what is proposed in this application. Any further changes will require new variance approval. Remover, please. Councilor Hunt, seconder, Councilor Steicher, all in favor? Carried. And 4.9. Resolution decision for variation order number 117-2023, whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 213055 has made application for today's order number 117-2023 for the premises described as lot 9, block 2, line 12397, 8 Mirey Creek Drive. Purpose of this application is to allow the combined floor area of all accessory buildings on the property. Therefore, now be resolved that variation order number 117-2023 be hereby approved by council with the following conditions. This variance is limited to what is proposed within this application. Any change to use, replacement, or further additions may require new variance approval. Or mover, please. Councilor Flecker, seconder, Councilor Pippercorn, all in favor? Good.
Absolutely.
Okay, Cam, we're just gonna take a 10-minute break.
Deputy Mayor, I suggest after the break that we go cap.
Yeah, right.
Recording stopped.
Welcome back. We are gonna go directly into our in-camera portion of it right now. Be resolved that council move in camera at 7:54 PM to discuss matters that are preliminary stages and respecting which discussions of public could prejudice the municipality's ability to carry out its activities or negotiations, as well as legal and personnel issues. And be it further resolved that the members of council agree to keep in confidence a matter that is discussed at a meeting that is closed to the public under subsection 152(3), and that the committee decides to keep confidential until the matter is discussed at a meeting of council or a committee conducted in public. Can I get a mover, please? Councilor Mondor, seconder. Councilor Peebles, all in favor? Carried.
Recording stopped.
Okay, so let us know when the live stream is paused.
We're not out of in camera. Be resolved that council move out of in camera at 8:55 p.m. Can I get a mover, please? Councilor Schleicher, seconder, Councilor Mondor, all in favor? Carried.
We're gonna extend the meeting?
You can do it now.
You want to do it now? You want to do it after the resolution?
No.
So we should be 4 minutes away.
How long do you want to extend it for? Half an hour? 30 minutes?
Extend it for an hour.
Okay, extend for an hour.
Just in case.
Okay. We get a resolution for that?
Yep.
Okay. Be resolved that Council of St. Andrews extend the meeting for an additional hour till 10 o'clock p.m. November 14th. Get a mover, please. Councilor Schleicher, seconder, Councilor Mirey, all in favor? Carried. Item number 15, resolutions from in camera.
Number 5, you gonna start at the
No, we're
beginning?
gonna do the
We're gonna do the
resolution.
resolutions. Okay. Sorry. 15.1, River Road cleanup order. We resolve that the order be performed after November 28th, 2023, but not later than May 1st, 2024, as the weather permits. Can I get a mover, please? Councilor Schleicher, seconder, Councilor Mondor, all in favor? Carried. Item 15.2, AK Soccer. Whereas Council Arm St. Andrews has agreed to the construction of a soccer project in municipal owned lands at the airport, and whereas an agreement has been prepared to include the items deemed necessary by the municipality and AK Soccer Academy, including the design, construction, terms and provisions of use. Now therefore be resolved that the council authorize the signing of the memorandum of understanding with AK Soccer Academy. Can I get a mover, please? So Councilor Beeblehorn, seconder. Councilor Morecki, all in favor? Carried. Item 15.3. St. Andrews Baseball Project, St. Andrews Airport Baseball Project, whereas the Council of the Arm of St. Andrews has collaborated with the St. Andrews Airport to refurbish a baseball diamond on airport land. And whereas an agreement has been prepared to include the items deemed necessary by the municipality and the board of the St. Andrews Airport, including the terms and duration of use. Now therefore be resolved that the council authorizes signing of the memorandum of understanding with the St. Andrews Airport. Get a mover, please. Councilor Mondor, seconder, Councilor Schleicher, all in favor? Carried. I'll move up to item number 5. Adoption of the minutes. And 5.1, be resolved that the council adopt the October 24, 2023 council meeting minutes as presented. Does everything look okay? Get a mover, please. Councilor Mondor, seconder, Councilor Schleicher. Any changes? All in favor? Carried. Item 6, bylaws and policy 6.1. Bylaw number 4384. Private approach bylaw. And Brent, we had talked about this as a cleanup.
Yeah. You want to?
Yeah, a lot of cleanup work, updating this bylaw and the next one to follow on the agenda. Happy to answer any questions about this. Pretty familiar from my previous role. Major changes, I guess notable changes I should say, are updates to the fees and deposits being required in the commercial and industrial zones. We've had a lot of cases where they will place the damage deposit and it's an insignificant amount based on the total value of their construction. And oftentimes leads to developers abandoning their permit obligations and kind of running wild. So this kind of helps kind of rein them in a little bit. Comparing it to other municipalities, this is pretty standard. There are others who have implemented a tiered amount based on the construction value, also an option to look at. This, of course, is just a first reading. So any changes can be added or amended.
Could you, in the meantime, and before second and third reading, send us the old bylaw and the changes in color?
Sure, yeah.
So we can read them.
I would add that these two have been formatted to be kind of consistently the same. So the old private approach bylaw was just a list of 17 conditions. The way this one has been created with formal subtitles and kind of clearly defining it. So you'll notice a substantial change with the approach bylaw. So the lot grade one looks very similar. The approach one has been totally redone.
You'll have the colors of the.
Yeah, I will highlight the ones that have been removed or elaborated on and ones that haven't changed.
Thank you. Okay. Yep. We get into the be resolved that council get first reading bylaw number 4384 being the private approach bylaw as presented. Mover. Councilor Beeblehorn, seconder. Councilor Hunt, all in favor? Carried. 3.2, the lot grade bylaw. Braden, you said that this is a cleanup as well.
Yeah, like, I'll just quickly elaborate on one portion here. When we set out the fee scheduling for this one. Trying to find which page. In any case, the damage deposit was increased to a significant amount. I believe it was 10,000 for commercial and industrial lot grade developments. Residential has just seen a slight increase from 2,000 to 2,500 on the deposit. This is all released following completion of their permit and sign off from our engineering department that does the inspections. So no change there, just a slight increase. And then the larger increase for the developers, like I said previously.
And what number is that? So what number is returned then of the 2,500? How much is returned?
So the application fee is $500 and then the deposit is 25. So whatever the deposit amount is released contingent that it was not drawn upon for any remedial actions.
Okay. Same as the private approach one as well, right?
Exact same, yeah.
Okay.
That
So
one, I believe.
As a return.
Yeah, like the permit fee for the private approach.
Basically.
Yeah, it all goes back.
It would go back, so, yeah. So, attached to the, I don't want to go back, but attached to the culvert, private approach bylaw, there's a culvert application permit as Schedule B. The application fee is $150. If this was a residential or agricultural approach, the deposit is $350, totaling $500, most of which is reimbursed. And industrial commercial, it increases to $850, all of which would be reimbursed. Yeah.
To make sure that they do what they're supposed to.
Yes, keep them in line.
I understand,
Yeah.
I just want to move. There it is.
Yeah, we'll read that, be resolved that council give first reading to bylaw number 4385 being the lot grade bylaws presented. Mover. Favor, seconder, Council Mirey, all in favor? Carried. Item 6.3. Bylaw number 4388, road naming 5 lane, first reading. Be resolved that council give first reading to bylaw number 4388 being a bylaw for naming a road 5 lane at the Sacramento subdivision number S222974 as presented. Any comments on this? Mover. Spiker, seconder, Council Mirey, all in favor? Okay. Item number 7. 7.1. Run over the check detail report. You resolve that council approve the November 10, 2023 check detail report as presented. Get a mover, please. Councilor Sliker, seconder. Councilor Peebles, any questions, comments? None? All in favor? Carried. Great, no reception of delegation petitions. Number 9, correspondence for action. The Selkirk and District Community Foundation Giving Challenge. Everyone's read through that? Now, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dear. I don't think we gave anything to them last year. Does that sound right? And go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So in the past, we had budgeted through the budget process, as I think this works out to $4, I think. So if you donate $10,000, you get $14,000. That's the math. So we should budget, and that goes into our St. Andrews Fund, which St. Andrews community clubs, whatever can apply for that through the foundation, through our St. Andrews Fund, as well as our own, as well as the own community fund. So moving ahead in the future for the budget, we should put that money into that budget, because 14,000 turns into, a couple of years ago, it was $7,000. So 10,000 turned into $17,000. And the max, the reason it was $10,000 because that was the max. That was $7,000. So if you give 20,000, you still only got $7,000. That was a max.
So you're saying you want to hold this into a budgetary?
Well, I don't know, unless we have money to put in now, I'm all in favor of that.
I don't think we gave anything last year. I think I think what we need to do, I like Councilor Hunt's thing, is start accumulating some of this dollar value and then just make it into a budget item for next year, and then make sure that we give that amount to some of the district foundation that council agrees to. Yeah.
Well, that money comes back to community in St. Andrews, and it stays in perpetuity, so it's an investment in the community. But I don't know what fund that come out of, and if there is any money in there even.
I don't know. I'm just folks not here right now. So.
Yeah, I can check, but I don't believe there's any money in there. But what I'm doing right now is I'm copying it and we'll put it on our budget for next year for 10,000.
Item number 9.2, Santa Parade of Lights. Now, this is the float, correct? Down the path. And it's December the 1st. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think there's any float entry from RM St. Andrews or the fire department this year. Anyone know about that?
The South Hall used to put a float in.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing it this year.
Well, we could table it and we can check that out.
Sure, we'll table it for, when is
If
the
they
date?
want to do it and we have to pay something for it, then I just thought.
December 1st, well, it'll be too late to table it then because the next meeting is not till middle of December.
We can approve it, and if they are going in, if we can pay for it, just approve. You're not gonna pay for it if they're not going in it.
Do that too?
Hello,
I-
hi there. I believe they have their party that night. They're not
Oh, that-
participating this year.
That's what it is, okay. Okay,
Thank you.
So thank you, so we'll just move to the next item then.
Yeah.
9.3, the Armed Christmas Dinner, December 7th in West St. Paul. Everyone's seen that, who's gonna be wanting to go to that? And spouses, we have to get everyone's name in there.
And how does it work for spouse? Do we pay for? Okay.
So
that works.
Lauren?
Yeah, I believe the RMS paid for our spouses in the past for this one, yeah. Okay.
Is it just
So
the
I'm
one
for
Christmas
any-
dinner? Yeah.
So every counselor and their spouse?
I haven't asked mine yet.
Apologies. Sliker. So Counselor Sliker and then everyone else with their spouse? And Frank?
Yeah.
I can't go on December 7th.
Lisa?
Lisa?
No, thank you.
Okay, so it's just us.
Is the mayor gonna be,
She's asked to have her name on there with Maria, so. Yeah, it would be resolved that all of council, including one guest, spouse, be authorized to attend the Armed Christmas Dinner and meeting, which is being held on December 7th, 2023 in West St. Paul. Do you want to itemize everyone's name on there? We can do that?
No. We just say.
All council, okay. Fair enough. Can I get a mover, please? Councilor Mondor, second, Councilor Hunt, all in favor? That would include, Mayor Solon, yes.
Yeah.
9.4, Petersfield Community Club Breakfast with Santa donation request. Well, I believe what we gave them last year was, books, or, book on the RM, does that sound correct? Do the same thing again? Everyone okay with that?
Well, they have a bag, I think, with some coffee cups.
Yeah, something like that.
So administration usually looks after that.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Thanks, okay. Item 9.5, Lockport Development, Community Development Group, Ice Village sponsorship request. So last year, if I'm not mistaken, I think we put $3,000, $3,500 into this.
We had, didn't we match with
No, I think it was 1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was 1,500.
it was 1,500.
Okay, so Tim had sent me something that was like $3,000, but it's possible.
Maybe we combined it with St. Clements to
No.
make the 3,000.
I think this has changed this year.
Yeah, they're doing a sponsorship.
The
this year.
sponsorships are increased.
Yeah.
Personally, I think this is an absolute amazing thing. It had lots of people talking. It was well put together. It was very clean. It was,
If I can add, I've been sitting on the committee with Gary Marshall, the EDO from St. Clements. What they have planned for this year is a lot greater than what they had last year. They've got a layout of their ice village that they have. They're coining it live, Lockport Ice Village Entertainment. There's going to be many snow sculptures, a grand opening, of course, ice fishing huts everywhere, croquet curl, hockey, skating, of course, and walking trails and all kinds of things. It's going to be great. They have not brought it forward to their council yet. We're the first ones to do so. I think they're doing so in December. If you wanted to do a match or equivalent, I can discuss with Gary, but if you'd like to just kind of set the stage as well, by all means.
I don't skidoo and I don't ice fish, but I can tell you, I drove up and down there on the River Road, and there's a lot of people. Now, are all those people St. Andrews, St. Clement, I don't know, but there was a lot of people for the first year, and I have friends that do fish and skidoo, and they all thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very well received. Do you want to make a decision?
Well, I'm okay with the copper or the silver, depending on what St. Clements comes up with, and let's just leave it at that. And then when is it? Like,
Planned start date is January 1st, of course, weather permitting.
okay with the December meeting.
And it would be nice to do something with, working arm in arm with St. Clements, and, you know, maybe this is a kickoff for, you know, the next 3 years of both communities working together, to make things better and greater, right?
Yeah.
Two minds are better than one.
It'd be a wonderful idea.
Well, we challenge them for a full response.
Okay, so you want to hold that over until we find out some more information then?
Yeah.
Okay. Item 10, correspondence for information. Everyone's gone through the House Center, Library, and obviously the letter from the Honorable Ian Bushy, who's the new school minister. Pass that to 11, we'll unfinished business. There's nothing there. Item 12, new business. So we've gone through the 2024 emergency plan adoption here. Everyone's looked at that? Any questions, concerns? Nothing, nobody? No? Okay. Stop that there.
The audio is that.
2024 emergency plan adoption, therefore be resolved that council accepts the recommendation and hereby approves the 2024 emergency plan for the RM of St. Andrews as presented. Get a mover. Councillor Sliker, seconder. Councillor Feeblecorn, all in favor? Carried. Item 12.2. Everyone's read that regards to the caller name. Any questions or concerns about that?
Just for information.
Okay. Be it resolved that council approve the caller name to be added to the approved names list for future use as a road name in and around the Petersfield area. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Sliker, seconder, Councillor Hunt, all in favor? Carried. Item 12.4. Volunteer Appreciation 2022-2023. Be resolved that the Army of St. Andrews provide an appreciation award of $50 biz bucks. The 50 nominated volunteers for 2022-23 work done that are not profit St. Andrews organizations. Further, that a total of $2,500 be allocated for this volunteer appreciation from the 2023 recreation budget, with nominations accepted in December 2023 and announcements made in January 2024 at a council. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Hunt, you want to talk about seconds? Yeah. And seconder, Councillor Sliker, any comments?
So we still, like, we used to have a volunteer appreciation dinner, which was well received. Are we gonna go back to that in 2024? So I thought it was on the budget for actually.
It was actually, I could have sworn we were.
That was on the budget. We didn't get the horses involved to do it, but we can pick a date out, before the end of the year and have it in stone for,
springtime, yeah. Because it always hinged upon the two community clubs of having ice off of them and warming up in the area, and that was always well received and a great event, and it shows our appreciation to the volunteer community, and it was well received.
So, does that mean then that we're not doing the big buck?
And I think this is still for 2023, like 2022 and 2023, because nothing was done. And I think that, you know, we'll get people going and acting, but because this comes out of 2023 budget, so next year we'll do a 24 budget and we'll budget for the volunteer appreciation dinner.
I like that, yeah. Pardon me? Yeah, we'll just come out of that budget, and that would roll over to next year's budget then. So let's say there's $7,500 left over, we'll just roll it over next year's budget.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
Okay. So that's then move forward already. All in favor? Um, 12.5. RP for Matlock Fire Hall Chief. Be resolved that council accept the recommendation and approve the hiring of Seth Johnson as the new fire chief of the North Matlock Fire Hall, effective immediately, and as per the terms of Fire Prevention and Emergency Services bylaw number 4176. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Hunt, seconder, Councillor Sliker, questions, comments? No, none, all in favor? Carried.
Congratulations to the new fire chief.
And we'll send a letter out from council. We're in for that.
Write us into the in-camera, if he's done already, and.
And a letter thank you to the past chief for his years of service. Okay, thank you guys.
What about the bylaw?
That is the bylaw portion of the Battle Fire Hall. So it's just there for information. Okay. So we've done the in-camera stuff, we've done the resolutions, so we are at number 16, which would be the adjournment of the meeting. We resolve that council meeting be adjourned at 9:16 p.m. Make it a mover, please. Councilor Hunt, seconder, Councilor Mondor, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Good job.